I'd like you to go through a thought exercise with me. All of us have three main resources, limited resources, and that is time, health, and money. And I want you to think about which of those three do you think you're likely to run out of first? And if you're getting close to 60 years old, I have a shock for you. I strongly feel you're much more likely to run out of health or time before you run out of money. And I've been a financial advisor for over 20 years. This is what I do for a living. I help people meet their financial goals. I help them prepare for retirement. But you know what I oftentimes see? I see, because our finances are so quantifiable, we can see how much money we have in the bank, we can see how much money we have in our brokerage accounts, that oftentimes we overweight what we can see and what we can measure. But think about what's most important to you. For many, many of us, what's most important to us is our time and our health, right? If you have time and health, you have freedom. And if you have time, health, and money, you have even more freedom, which is one of the reasons, money is so important to us. But if you're approaching 60 years old, the sad reality is you likely have less than 1,000 weeks remaining of healthy, active time. And that's not a lot of time. And so I want all of you watching to be thinking deliberately and consciously about how you want to spend that time. Whether you have 1,000 weeks or 2,000 weeks, and the average newborn has a little over 4,000 weeks. So regardless of where you're at on that spectrum, I want you to be conscious and deliberate about how you think about those weeks. But if you're getting close to your last 1,000 weeks of healthy active time, I want you to think about retiring as soon as you can. And I'm going to share with you 4 main reasons that I think you should be thinking about retiring sooner rather than later. And the first one I've already touched base on, and that is time and health. These are the years where you're going to be the healthiest and you can do the most activities. So if you want to do travel other than, by bus or by cruise, can you travel in South America and Southeast Asia in your 70s and 80s? Yes, you can, but you're probably not going to be doing it with a backpack on your shoulder, right? And I've been fortunate to be able to go to all 3 of those areas with a backpack on my shoulder. And I can tell you, it's a lot of fun to be able to do that. So both traveling light and traveling outside of a group is easier when you're younger. And it's also easier to have other experiences, go biking or cycling or rafting. There are these windows of opportunity, and unfortunately, many of those windows are shutting down for me, and they're going to shut down for my viewers here that are approaching 60, and for my viewers in your 20s and 30s, eventually those windows are going to shut down for you as well. So the first one is time, and time not just for adventures, time not just for the bucket list items that you might have put off, but also time with people that you love. If your parents are still alive, this might be one of your last chances to spend quality time with your parents. They might benefit from being able to have you in their life in a more meaningful way. If you have adult children that now have their own kids, your adult children might benefit by having you help out with their kids. It can be a really nice win-win for everybody, right? Being the grandparent that's actually involved as opposed to just able to visit a couple weeks a year. So time is super important. Okay, the next one is, just the cost of losing your fittest years. And I want to caution you on the 4 most dangerous words that financial advisors hear. And those 4 dangerous words are just one more year. And we hear that from our clients that, a little bit more money is always going to feel better. right? But remember what you're giving up. That little bit of more money doesn't come for free. The cost of that little bit of more money is 50 weeks of your healthiest and weeks that you can be the most active, right? It's 5% of those 1,000 weeks, but it's not just any 5%. It's your healthiest and most active. So be thoughtful, be conscious, and be deliberate. Don't just say, well, I've been offered this bonus if I stay a year, and it'd be nice to have a buffer. Yes, absolutely, it'd be nice to have a buffer. But you know what else would be nice? It'd be nice to have access to that extra 50 weeks to go do something, to have that adventure, to make sure that a stroke or a heart attack or a cancer diagnosis cannot steal that from you, right? If you and your spouse have always thought it'd be fun to explore Southeast Asia, the beautiful beaches that they have there, to travel there, to be footloose and fancy free, the cost of one more year at work could be, if you lost your health, that you don't get to do that. But if you take advantage of that year and you do the trip, you'll always have those memories. And hopefully you'll be able to do many more of those trips. So that's the second cost, is just losing one of your fittest and most active years. Okay, another thing, as I record this in 2023, interest rates are the highest that they've been in 15 years. And so how does that relate to what I'm talking about? How does that relate to being able to take full advantage of the youth of your senior years, those active years? The way it relates is right now, for the first time in 15 years, you can get a US government bond, what's called the 10-year treasury, that is paying over 4%, right? We've all heard about the 4% rule and being able to spend 4% of the money on your portfolio. Well, I don't know what interest rates are going to do, but I know it's been 15 years since you've been able to get this kind of rate. And who knows if it's going to stay up there. So interest rates are high now. That can take away some of the risk, some of the uncertainty that comes with your investments, and saying, well, gee, the world's a scary place now. Well, I'm going to tell you another secret in this video. The world's always a scary place. There's always stuff to worry about. But now you can lock in a 10-year treasury, a 10-year government bond that pays over 4%. I don't know how much longer you're going to be able to do that, but to me, that makes it a little bit easier to say, you know what, I'm going to take full advantage of the youth of my senior years, okay? And then another really important one, and this is going to shock many of you, but many of my viewers, I don't know your situation, this is not financial advice, but many of you are going to die with millions of dollars unspent. So all this sacrificing for additional money for a brighter future for you and your spouse if you're married, your partner if you're not, the people that you care about. As far as for you, it's not going to move the needle that much. When you look at the 4% rule, it's a statistical analysis, and the vast majority of people are going to do better than those worst case scenarios. And many of you watching this video are going to die with millions of dollars. And it would be sad to sacrifice your healthy and active years if you knew you were going to die with millions of dollars. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know your situation. But I can tell you, if you have $1 million now, if you don't spend a lot of money, you know what, there is a chance that you're going to die with millions of dollars, depending on your specific situation, which I don't know. To find out for yourself, I encourage you to speak with a fee-only financial advisor. I also encourage you to watch this video here, because in it's kind of part 2 of this video. And it talks about the 8 things I think people need to stop doing as they approach 60 in order to enjoy life more. I think you're going to find it super helpful. It's a great companion to this video.